Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a controversial view. In honor of April Fool's Day, we're going to be talking about April Fool's Day? Yeah, April Fool's Day. Now, my history with this film, I saw this after it came out in the theaters on video, and I absolutely hated this movie. Oh, I hated this movie. See, the thing about the 80s and me being a little bit older is that the 80s were filled with slasher movies with holiday themes. And I was looking so forward to seeing this movie because it was a slasher movie with a holiday theme. And for all intents and purposes, it's a slasher movie. Or is it? I'll get to that later. I don't know whether I was offended that they had made a fool of me because, spoiler warning, everything is a trick. Or whether there was too much comedy in this film. Not really sure what it is. Or the simple fact of there being so many holiday themed slasher movies in the 80s. I was just so disappointed and so let down with this film. I never returned back to it. So it's kind of weird that I have two copies of the film. Now, we are going to be talking about April Fool's Day, but we're mostly going to be talking about what constitutes a slasher movie. What makes a slasher movie a slasher movie? And this is going to be more of a discussion for everyone who wants to participate. Just try to keep it nice. Now, Joe and I get comments on our videos about how, oh, this movie's not a slasher because of this. Oh, this movie's not a slasher because of that. This was before slasher movies took hold, so it's a proto-slasher, which I hate that term. It's either a slasher movie or it's not a slasher movie. Not everything is so black and white. And I think that's what the controversy is here today. We're going to talk about a controversy of calling a slasher movie when it may not technically be a slasher movie. First one I'm going to talk about, you'd think it would be April Fool's Day, but April Fools, I got you. One that Joe and I just recently watched, Don't Answer the Phone, is considered one of the better slasher movies around. But is it really a slasher movie? There's no slashing involved. There's no knives. It's basically about a Vietnam vet who goes haywire and, in some religious form of grandeur, has to kill all these pretty women by strangling them with a stocking, and there's a coin in the stocking. Is that really a slasher movie? Now let's take our prime example, April Fool's Day. Actually, no. Let's save April Fool's Day for a little while. Let's talk about a movie that everyone loves, Terrifier, the first one. Art uses a gun at the end. Guns aren't in slasher movies. So technically, is Terrifier not a slasher movie? I would call it one. One more example, and then we'll get to April Fool's Day. Jaws 2. Jaws 2 appeals to me probably more than the first, well, actually, definitely more than the first one, because it has a slasher element to it. Especially towards the end, when all the kids are together in that makeshift catamaran full of different types of boats. The shark is basically picking them off one by one. It's a slasher movie, but with a shark. And technically, if you want to get technical, you can consider its teeth the slasher implement. So I think calling a movie a slasher movie is more or less up to the eye of the beholder. Let's talk about April Fool's Day now. One of the most popular slasher movies around. And like I said, I hated this movie when I first saw it. Now, in watching it after 30 some years, 40 some years, I had such a good time with it. But is it a slasher movie? It's set up like a slasher movie. There are slasher like kills. But, and again, spoiler warning, you find at the end that this is all a joke. And I think it's brilliant the way they did it because the whole movie is one joke after the other. So you have all these little things that just go off one by one by one. And then at the end is the grand finale. Nobody dies. Nobody gets slashed. And even after that, the girl who put it all together, the Deborah Foreman character, Muffy, she gets slashed by one of the other guests, and they show the cutout knife with the blood tube, like the turkey baster that's attached to it. No slashing there either. So now I want to put it to you guys. What do you think? What constitutes a slasher movie? Is it based on personal opinion? Are there certain tropes you have to follow? And when do the exceptions happen? Don't forget to check out Joe's controversial view for April Fool's Day. Remember, guys, physical media matters. And until next time.